Hello, everyone. Welcome to another hot, wonderful, beautiful episode of Niger Knows. I'm Nika, and we got
Felicia.
And Yeji Day.
Ori.
Yay! So all of us are here. We're back reunited, and it feels
so good.
We're gonna hop in. Today we are talking about love languages. If you're watching us, you can probably see my camera, maybe not because the lighting is bad. 5 love languages. So we're going to talk about love languages, what ours are, if it's important in relationship, knowing your partners, et cetera, et cetera. So let's just start with, let's say your top, because all of them, you can relate to in some way, but what is your top 5? And we'll just go in the same order. What's your top one?
Acts of service.
One, sorry.
Yeah, acts of service.
Acts of service.
Mine was quality time.
That makes total sense.
And what was your story?
Oh, quality time. No, physical touch. Physical touch. Sorry.
Physical touch. Okay. And mine is acts of service. That's my where I've got the most percentages. So, the 5 love languages is something that's, been around for a while. This book was published in 19 something. And, I feel like it's become a big topic and a tool that people use in relationships to help them relate to themselves, but also to their partners, whether it's romantic or even friendships or whatever. So you said your top one, Felicia. Acts of service. Why is it acts of service?
Because I feel most, I guess, heard and appreciated if if you see I'm cleaning up, jump in and help me. Just don't sit there like a lump on a log and watch me, because that's just gonna piss me off to high heaven. So I like that. I like the help, And if you see I'm doing something, don't wait for me to ask you. Just jump in and do it. That will make my heart smile and make me happy.
All right, you today. What about your quality time?
Quality time, I feel, is essential. I feel that's the time that you get to really get to know anybody, friends, family members, especially your spouse. So I love spending quality time with people, uninterrupted quality time. So I don't mean that we're just in the room together and you're on your phone. Like, I'm talking about when I want you to tap in and lock into how my day is going. I don't need no distractions. So I think quality time really allows you to really get to know and feel that person's love in my love language.
Okay. Tori?
Oh, physical touch. Definitely for me. I'm very tactile. I hug all my friends, even if they're like, "Wow," I'm like, "Wow." Yeah, I hug and touch all my friends. That's why I love my cats. I touch my cats. I feel like even if we're busy, or even if something happens, just that small touch is just like, oh, it's just a small physical connection. It's warming. It just fills my heart. So if you walk past me, or if we're sitting on the couch or something and your pinky toe touch my pinky toe, I'm like, oh, and I'm good. Like I'm like the happiest of campers, or holding hands, walking down the street, long hugs. Like, the physical connection to me is so important, because I get so iffy about my personal space. Like, if I don't like you, if I don't know you, get away. Or if I'm not feeling your vibe, stay out my bubble. But when I care and love you, it's like I can't get enough. Like,
Gotcha. Mine is acts of service, similar to Felicia, because I'm the type of person I'll do for you more than I would physically, like, or audibly say I love you. Like, the way I show it for people that I know is I'm there. I'm there when you need me or to help or whatever. So for me as well, because I think words they're important, but they, people lie, people say anything. So, the way I always look, especially in romantic relationship, if your words match up with your actions, and then I know, okay, yeah, you're for real about what you're saying, because what you're doing, matches up. So that being said, has anyone's changed? Like, as you've gotten older, as you've, experienced relationships, was it different before, or it's always been the same?
I would say physical touch was my first one, because I am a very affectionate person. That's actually my second one now. So it does change. And I think it also just changed based on the type of relationships you've had and just how you mature. But yes, it has changed before. So that one's not my top one anymore, but it's the second one. So I also like to connect physically.
Yeah.
Same. I think when I was younger, mine was physical touch. Like
My other
I would say like 20s and 30s, definitely physical touch.
Yeah.
My other ones have changed. My top one's always been physical touch. But the order of the other four have definitely changed over the years and shifted around as I've gotten older and priorities change.
Mhm.
Definitely for sure. Like the other ones, but not my top one. I think my top one has held pretty steady.
Yeah.
So what's your second one, Tori?
Quality time.
Okay. See,
Well,
we're
Same.
kind of
Yeah.
same boat.
No, wait, oh, physical touch, because that's like almost a constant. But quality time, that one has stayed to the other. It's the other three that have like shifted over the years, where it was like receiving gifts used to be my last one. Like I didn't care about receiving gifts at all, and then the third was the words of affirmation. But it kind of ended up switching around to where it's like acts of service is third, gifts is fourth, and then words of affirmation are last, to Nikki's point, because words are beautiful, but the actions around it. So it's like, it's the acts of service for me is like I do things really quickly. And so most of the time, if I need something, I just do it really quickly. So it's impressive to me if you can do it faster than I can. I'm just impressed at that point.
Yeah, my one used to be words of affirmation when I was in my younger days, which I think that came from how I was raised. Like that's, because my dad specifically, it wasn't like, they're not, especially Nigerian men, that old, that generation, they're not huggers like that. My mom was affectionate, but my dad wasn't. So it was like always the words that were important to me. But definitely, like I said before, seeing that the words don't really matter if the actions don't back it up, it changed. But that being said, let's go real quickly as to what they are, what the five are, because we've talked about, we even define what they are. So words of affirmation, like you said, Tori, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch are the five. It may have been modified since then, I don't know, but or changed or added, I don't know, but pretty sure these are the basic five. So what about when it comes to your relationship? Let's talk about romantic relationship in this case. You know what yours are, but how important is it, or do you even bother to find out or learn what your partners are? Or is this just, therapy talk where it's just like, sounds nice, but it's not, practical in action?
I think that's the thing. Is it like, even if you know what your partner's love language is it, like you said, practical to do that every single day? Because life.
Mm-hmm.
So I know for me, it's hard because life, like I have so many different things and there's so many balls in the air every day. I may forget to stop, be like, oh, I need to hug you today because your love language is so bad. Your love language is physical touch. Oh, no, let me go rub you real quick because I forgot. But it happens because life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think it's that though. I think it's the effort though. Like, no, I don't think it's gonna happen every day. But the fact that you were like, oh yeah, I forgot to wiggle her big toe for her. I know she liked that. Like, and that's important. Like, I don't know. I don't need you to do that every day. But the fact that you were like, oh yeah, I forgot this person I care about. They like this. Let me do that real quick. That I think is more important. Like, I know that's where it falls for with me. It's like, if I've been with, men that don't know and don't really care to, oh, this is fluffy stuff. And so I observe them. And I think it's when you know what they are, it's easy to observe and say, oh yeah, his is this, got it, and then you kind of do those small things internally. I think it's important for sure.
Yeah.
What about you, UJ? I know you're married.
Yeah.
I'll talk about that. You don't have to get too personal if you want. I'm just,
Oh, it's fine. He all right. No, I do think it's a lot of people do explore it when it is kind of like in a therapy setting, or they're curious about it. They hear about the love languages and they want to just kind of explore for themselves. But I really do feel that it's not the end all be all, but it does help you understand your partner better. Because sometimes when you say, hey, I'm an affectionate person, that doesn't equate to like, hey, I like affection and quality time. They think if, oh, I kissed you 2 times a day, because their love language may be acts of service. So now you have to put yourself in a space of, I understand I'm telling you my love language is physical touch or quality time, but your partner might be on the other spectrum where that may be on the lower part of their list. And, sometimes some men are not overly affectionate. So that's something that they have to learn because each partner is different. So I do think that it helps you understand more where someone is coming from and if they need to work in a different area to kind of meet you where your love tank, so to say, is full. So I feel like learning what his is, because his is acts of service. And for me, I'm like, you can wash all those dishes in the sink right now before I get to them. I'm going to be appreciative of it. But if I'm telling you I'm having a bad day, I'm going to need you to come home, sit on down, sit beside me, listen to me, hug me. That's going to mean more, but I still appreciate the gesture you did. So I think it helps you understand how to tap into their love tank and how they can also kind of negotiate and learn ways to feel yours as well.
So I
Yeah,
have
and
a
I
question real
think
quick.
that, oh, go ahead.
So say the dishes are there, right? You guys are both in the kitchen. You wouldn't get the same feeling if he's multitasking. Like, I'm listening to you, I'm here, I'm present, and I can kill two birds with one stone. That's not.
I think it depends on the severity of the feeling. If I'm feeling downright depressed or I'm just aggravated about something, yeah, we can multitask. But if I'm feeling like, hey, this is something that is probably going to be a bit heavy, I need your undivided. And men are not good multitaskers. So that part, well, let me not talk for all men for somebody to come for me in the comments, but I know my husband is not a good multitasker. So when it's something very important, I would say, I need your undivided. But
Okay.
in your situation, if it's nothing that's too tasking, yeah, that's fine. We can talk and kill two birds with one stone.
Okay.
And I think that, we focus, and I did talk about this with my therapist, just so y'all know. So this is where this is coming from. I think we do tend to focus on whatever my top ones. So like acts of service, you're not doing. Whereas there's like, to your point, maybe, quality time. So to me, like we can hang out, spend time together. I love quality time as well. I think that's like my number 3 or whatever. But if you not doing, if we just sitting on the couch talking all day, like, come on, let's get some stuff done. I asked you to wash the dish. I asked you to take the trash out. That's my thing. Like my children, they know the trash is full, take it out before I freaking lose my mind. But yeah, I think that we tend to focus on the top, but we have to remember that all of them are important, and yeah, it might be acts of service, but make sure you are giving that quality time, make sure you are giving those words of affirmation and gifts too. I've never been big on gifts because it's not my thing, but I like a nice gift. I've always been happy when I got a gift.
Of course.
I think you have to remember too that the way that people express these can also be different too and translated different. So like some people, when you say like receiving gifts, they're like, oh, you must be real, materialistic if your top one is gifts. And it's like, no, for me, giving gifts is you out there having a good old day doing you, worried about you. Then all of a sudden you see something small that reminds you of me. And a little trinket, it could be a keychain. It don't got to be any flower, dandelion you saw in the middle of the road. It could be anything, but you bring that home and be like, babe, I was out, doing my thing, having a great day, and I saw this thing and it reminded me of you, so I got it for you.
Yeah.
You don't have, it's, and so like again, translation of what that actually means for individual person. So you have like quality time. What does quality time look? Quality time might be I set aside 5 to 10, 15, 20 minutes a day to talk to you, where someone's like, that's not quality time. That's just structured. I want, long adventure time. And some people are like, no, I just need 5 minutes of your time. Like I think it's also, you have to get to know and observe your person enough to understand what their version of that means as well.
Yeah, I remember this. Well, I know Felicia, Tori, cray cray.
Mhm.
Okay, so originally when we first dated, the first go round, right? And he would come over and blah blah blah. So my vacuum cleaner had broken, the one that I had, and I just casually said like, "Oh crap, I need to get a new vacuum cleaner." So for my birthday, you would think it's a weird gift, but he got me a vacuum cleaner, and that was probably one of the best gifts that I got because like, oh,
Oh,
you were listening to me.
yes.
And then you followed through and you actually bought me a vacuum cleaner. And I was so happy. And I took it home and I vacuumed my apartment. And I was very happy. It seems again weird, but I was very happy about that because I knew he was listening. So to me, again, the words, and then you followed it through with the act of service by buying. And actually, he kind of did that. He did that with the gifts. He kind of rolled them all into one. So yeah, it's like, yeah, you do have to understand how that person also interprets, what gifts are quality time. Because to your point, Tori, I'm the type like we don't have to sit on the couch. Like I like to be out. Let's go kayaking. Let's go jump out of an airplane. Let's go parasailing. That's the type of thing that's quality time, to me. What do y'all think about that? Translating,
Oh,
how do you interpret?
yeah, by all means, I love me a good trip.
Yeah.
I love adventure. I love doing new things together. And it can be something as small as you making me a card. Again, it doesn't have to be something super expensive, even though receiving gifts is lower on my totem pole as well. But just be thoughtful, be intentional. That's all that is. Be intentional with anything that you do, and I will appreciate it.
Yeah.
So yeah, translation. Sometimes you're gonna have to help somebody in the translation, like, no, you cold. This is how we get a little hot. You want to keep talking to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what I found? Because I don't mind being physically affectionate, but I do notice sometimes like I can get touched out. And even for me to touch another person, it's like, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like touching. I don't want to touch nothing. I don't want you to touch me. Just you can sit over there and I'm gonna be over. You're in my presence. Like I can see you and you can see me.
I can't touch your pinky toe, Felicia.
Sometimes it's almost like when you have kids, right? And when they're little, they're just on you all the time. It's like, mommy, 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 and they're touching. It's like, get off, right? I have those moments even now. It's like, don't touch me. I don't want to be touched. How do you do that when, the person you're, with is big on physical touch?
I think y'all both have to be understanding. Like you have to understand that them doing it is not trying to annoy you. It's just that's how they show love. That's how they show affection. But then, the other person also has to be understanding. Like, hey, this might be too much for her, and I do need to, even in my, showing love, still need to respect her boundaries.
Because it can be overstimulating.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And some
I have
people
a
won't.
question for you, Nikki and Felicia. So when it comes to, I know you said that like yours have changed and things over the years. Do you think that becoming mothers was part of that switch to what your love languages are, like from physical touch to specifically acts of service? Because for both of you, that became kind of a big thing.
Mhm.
And I wonder if there's, I mean, then the answer could just be flat out no. But, I just kind of noticed, I thought that was something interesting. You both said the years have kind of like shifted. Do you think joining motherhood was something that attributed to that?
Go ahead, Nika.
I can't really say for sure because A, I never thought about it. That's actually a very good question. But also B, I have my son, my oldest one, young. So I've been a parent my entire adult life. So, when I think about his dad and our relationship at the time, I was 18 when we got together. So I was basically a kid. I didn't think I was a kid. I thought I was grown, but I was a kid. So the words of affirmation, well, I know. I don't really know. I don't really know. I know being a mother definitely made me more affectionate, but only with my children. It made me probably more standoffish with men in particular because of how, certain things played out. But I don't know that motherhood necessarily changed it. It may have changed it how I relate to my children, but not necessarily in a romantic sense.
I just wonder if acts of service, you move into, it becomes less about physical touch and more about I got a lot to do as a mother now. Your value relationship now becomes
Yeah.
how you can also help me and take some things off my plate.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that and just going through life too and experiencing so many, the ups and downs of life, I played a big part for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, being affectionate with my daughter, but not with other people, definitely.
Yeah, I think the words of affirmation again that came from maybe some childhood things because that's as far as from a man, that particular aspect of it, that's what I looked for from my dad. Even I didn't even realize it up until like a month ago. We had a conversation and I was telling him about something, and then he was basically affirming me, and I was just crying like I was a little girl, and like I texted him like the little girl in me was just like jumping up and down like Daddy, Daddy, I did it, you know. I didn't even realize I still needed that, but I feel I'm going through some kind of change because of it. Um, but I think a lot of that was like daddy stuff that I needed that. I need you to tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me when it came to a man. But to your point, Tori, yeah, maybe that is why it changed to acts of service because your words, cool, cool, but I done been through some shit. I got, this child I gotta take care of.
Hmm.
I need you to do.
Yes.
Do.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's actually interesting, and that's a great question that Tori asked because I was having a conversation. My husband's like, "What is your topic today?" So I was telling him, and so we're going through ours a bit. We had a nice conversation, and he asked me like, "Why is acts of service lower on my thing?" And I had to think about it. I'm like, it's definitely a response to trauma. I feel that mine's is when I feel that something is expected of me constantly without any regard of whether it's deserving, then I have a little bit of that struggle with it. And then I could be like, but you could do that too. But I've done X, Y, and Z. Then it's the whole like leveraging things. And he's like, well, why do you feel that way? And I'm like, yeah, I do definitely believe past relationships and just dealing with even friendships where people kind of since had the opportunity to kind of walk all over me. And I was just kind of like at one point, I just like snapped out of it. I'm like, what you not gonna do? And then after that, it was just like, I'm a very giving person. I'm a very loving and supportive friend. But if I feel at any point you're trying to take advantage of that, I will fall back.
Mm.
And so I feel like that has been like, I'm going to show how I love through these other avenues. And a lot of times it is still an act of service thing, but it's not like my first go through thought, like I'm doing this action for you as an act of service. Because more so I'm looking at it like I'm doing this out of love, not necessarily like you're going to appreciate this because you're an acts of service person. So like that is his primary love language, is acts of service. So we're talking about little things. I'm like, okay, well, when I do X, Y, and Z, is that considered acts of service to you? Because again, you have to also understand how someone is receiving. Because a lot of times, if you think about it, we don't lead with somebody else's love language. We lead with how we love,
Ours.
Mhm.
and then we hope they receive it the way we want them to receive it. But then again, if I'm a person that's physical touch, and you over here doing all these things around the house for me, fixing it up, you're thinking that I'm an acts of service person. You're going to receive this well. Yes, I'm appreciative, but at that time, I might be bawling my eyes out. I need a hug, or whatever the case may be.
Or you
And it's
spent
like,
all day cleaning and you didn't spend no time with me.
thank
Sit on the
you.
couch and you didn't lift my legs. You didn't come sit with me.
Thank
Like,
you.
You didn't rub my butt when you walk by.
you didn't slap my butt. You didn't.
Okay. You touch
And
it, bring it,
I
babe.
I have noticed raising boys. Okay, so look, this is like a little caveat to what I'm about to say. So I don't know if y'all know this, but at some point in a boy's life, right? When y'all go to sleep, you in the house, y'all are in the house, you go to sleep, 7, 8 o'clock, go to bed or whatever. At some point, I'm guessing it's in the early morning hours when you're in that REM sleep. Somebody comes and they kidnap your boys, They do it to the girls too, but I'm talking about boys because this was my experience. And they take them to some kind of class and they teach them how boys should be and then become men. Because there are certain things that I want to make sure they don't do, but I realize that they're going to do because they're boys and I can't unteach it. So I have had to adjust because, acts of service is, especially my older one, probably his. I was more affectionate, but they're, especially as they get older, they don't want you to touch them so much. But if they see me down, whatever, they're going to jump. Oh, what? Joseph will jump up, start vacuuming or start randomly cleaning, because that's how they just want to fix. And I noticed that men, they may have issues, not all men, obviously, but they may have a little bit of an issue translating the others because as boys, as men, they're just taught, you don't show emotion, blah, blah, blah. You just got to fix. So when you're crying and I want quality time, he's like, what you mean? I just built the garage for you. Why? What's wrong? I just built this whole house, 2 bedrooms and a pool in the back. Why are you crying? So sometimes, yeah, I think you like to, well, all of your point, but usually specifically since you're talking about your husband, you do have to understand how they interpret it. What about you, Tori? Has yours changed? I know you don't have children, but
No,
you talked about the other ones changing. Do you think there's any specific thing you could point to as to why?
Words of affirmation, I think that comes through definitely relationships. I think is kind of really what demoted acts of words of affirmation for me to the bottom. Kind of for the same reason that, it's kind of like words are nice, but I find that I get very uncomfortable and cringy when I don't feel like affirming words come from a real place, or if people are over ingratiating, it feels not genuine. And so it's like too many words, not enough action makes me actually step back and look at you maybe from a lens of mistrust or skepticism when that happens. Because it just didn't feel right. Or, if you're betrayed or trust issues and things like that, it's like the words don't mean as much. And I think for a long time, I kept receiving gifts at the bottom because I was like, I'm not a gold digger. I'm not looking for gifts. I don't want gifts. I translated it as material, big gift items all the time. And that's originally, I think, how I translated it. But then as I read more into it over the years, it was like, no, I love gifts. I love surprises. Good luck trying to surprise me because I'm nosy. And so when you can and when you do, that means those little thoughts, that means the most to me. And I think that's kind of like why that one ended up taking a step up, and why acts of service also jumped up. Because again, I'm quick, like really quick. And, I fall victim into that strong, independent, Black woman. I've got it because I've always had to have it. And it's to the point to where now it's actually very hard for me to allow help and allow, assistance and allow things like that. Like, I feel like no one owes me anything. So therefore I just go and do stuff. I open this, I do this, I work this, I drill this, I cut this, I'm quick with it. And so in order to impress me with acts of service and I'm really impressed when it's like, oh, I got it. It's like, what you mean you got it? I got it. And it's like, wait, you got it? And you did the way that I like? Okay. Like, it's like, you thought of me. Like, oh my gosh. Like, you did it before I can do it. That's impressive. And that means that you were listening. Okay, cool. Like, so that's how kind of everything kind of ended up shifting. And it definitely aligned with the more important things that I think about when I go to date anybody, talk to anyone. And, the person I talk to now, it's like, those were the things that I really watched for. And what really captured my heart was like, naturally, those things kind of fell in order. And it was because they were paying attention.
Right. Yeah. Well, this was a good episode. We'll have to do it again with our therapist, Terrence on. Because he's specific in the relationship, marriage, vein when it comes to these things. So, we'll definitely have to do it again with him on with us. But this has been a great episode.
Yes, it
Sounds like
has.
we all have grown and changed over the years, all for the better. Thank goodness. None of us are assholes. Yay. But we're going to have all of our socials and stuff up here as we always do. Make sure you like, you share, you follow, you comment. Let us know what you think. Let us know what your love language is and why, and so on and so forth. Any last words, last comments before we shut it down?
Make sure y'all subscribe.
Yeah.
And make sure you put the link of the book in case they want to read it too.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Comment in the comments, not the DMs.
Yes.
Get with your chest.
You will get put on blast. Not just joking. But all right, y'all. Well, that's all we got for you today. Peace out.